The wedding guests whispered behind their smiles.
Why would she marry him?
One woman muttered.
He can't even walk. And she's already carrying enough baggage.
Another sneered. But Maya didn't flinch. Her trembling hands held the bouquet tighter, eyes locked on the man in the wheelchair, the one everyone said didn't deserve her. No one clapped when they kissed. Only silence and judgment. They thought it was a pity marriage. They thought it would end in months. But years later, when the truth came out, every single person who laughed that day wished they never had. Before we go deeper into Maya and Ethan's story, tell me in the comments, where are you watching from? And what time is it right now? Let's see who's up late for this one. Before the whispers, before the stares, Maya Johnson's life was quiet, steady, and full of quiet strength. She was a 28-year-old nurse in Atlanta, known for her warm smile and the way she hummed old gospel tunes while changing dressings. Her patients loved her. Her co-workers respected her. But outside the hospital walls, the world wasn't always so kind. Don't stay out too late, Maya, her mother would warn. Not everyone sees you the way I do. Maya would just smile. Mama, I'm careful. People are better these days, but deep down she knew better. Then came Ethan, a gentle man with an engineer's mind and a laugh that could light up a room, until the accident. A car crash had taken his ability to walk, and with it his confidence. He moved to Maya's hospital for physical therapy, quiet and withdrawn, his world reduced to the wheels beneath him. The first time they spoke, it wasn't about medicine. Do you ever get tired of pretending everything's fine? He'd asked, staring out the window. Maya smiled softly. Every day. But some things are still worth pretending for. That moment changed everything. Their bond grew quickly, too quickly for those around them. Some nurses whispered that Maya was too kind, that she was taking pity. Others said worse things when they thought she couldn't hear. But Maya didn't care. When Ethan finally asked her out, she said yes, without hesitation. Still, as they sat in that small diner on their first date, with eyes burning into their backs, Maya felt a chill. She didn't know it yet, but this love, this innocent, pure connection was about to expose just how cruel people could be. At first, their love felt untouchable. Ethan's recovery had slowed, but Maya's presence gave him reason to push through each painful session. He'd grin through the strain, whispering, "If I walk again, it'll be for you." She'd laugh. "Then you better start walking faster." But outside that hospital room, the world wasn't laughing. When their relationship became public, it started with stares, long, uncomfortable ones. Then came the comments. Subtle at first. "Must be charity work," one nurse whispered. "She just wants attention," another said. Even Ethan's physical therapist avoided eye contact when Maya entered the room. Ethan noticed. "You hear what they're saying about you?" Maya sighed. "I hear worse things every day, Ethan. I just don't let them win." But it wasn't just whispers anymore. One evening they went to a small restaurant near the hospital. The hostess smiled politely until she saw them holding hands. "I'm sorry," she said, glancing around. "We're fully booked tonight." Ethan looked past her. Half the tables were empty. "Right," he muttered, his jaw tightening. "Thanks for nothing." Maya tried to keep her composure, but when they got back to the car, tears slipped down her cheeks. "Why do they hate us for loving each other?" she whispered. Ethan couldn't answer. He just held her hand, his silence saying everything. When they announced their engagement, the hate went from quiet to public. Social media filled with vile comments. People from Ethan's old life, business partners, friends, even some relatives, cut him off completely. "She's using you. He's a fool. That kind of marriage never lasts." Even Ethan's mother, once kind and soft-spoken, couldn't hide her disapproval. "She's not like us, Ethan. People will talk. You'll regret this." He took a deep breath. "Then let them talk." On the wedding day, barely half the invited guests showed up. The rest sent excuses. A few didn't bother at all. But Maya walked down that aisle with her chin high, even as people whispered cruel things under their breath. Later that night, when they got home, Ethan turned to her. "I'm sorry. You don't deserve this." She looked at him, tears glistening but steady. "Ethan, I didn't marry people's approval. I married you. They thought marriage would silence the cruelty. But it only made things worse. A few months later, Ethan's company board removed him quietly, saying they needed a more stable public image. Neighbors who once waved now crossed the street. Someone spray-painted traitor on their fence one night. When Maya called the police, the officer at the door gave a cold smirk. Probably just kids messing around. You people attract attention sometimes. That phrase, "you people," burned in her chest. Ethan's health began to decline again under the pressure. Stress, depression, isolation. Maya worked double shifts just to cover expenses after he lost his income. But through it all, she never stopped fighting. Never stopped believing love was stronger than hate. Until the night she came home to find Ethan gone. His wheelchair sitting by the door, a letter on the table, and the house silent. Her hands trembled as she opened it. "Maya, I can't keep being the reason you're hurt. You deserve a world that doesn't punish you for loving me." The note trailed off in ink, smudged by tears. And from that moment, Maya knew the cruelty around them wasn't done breaking hearts yet. The night Maya found Ethan's letter, rain hammered against the windows like an angry drum beat. She searched every room, shouting his name until her voice cracked. His wheelchair sat by the door, empty, wheels glistening from where he'd wiped them clean. She ran outside barefoot, rain soaking her nurse's uniform. "Ethan!" she screamed into the darkness. Her heart pounded as she reached the old bridge, the one he used to visit when he needed to clear his mind. And there he was, sitting at the edge, staring down at the rushing water. "Ethan, don't you dare!" she cried, sprinting toward him. He didn't turn. His voice was barely a whisper over the storm. "I can't do this to you anymore, Maya. You've lost everything because of me. Your job, your peace, your smile." She dropped to her knees beside him, gripping his hand. "You didn't take anything from me, they did. The people who can't stand to see us happy, they did this, not you." He shook his head, tears mixing with the rain. "You don't get it. They look at me and see weakness. They look at you and see shame. I can't be the reason they destroy you." Lightning flashed, illuminating their faces, hers fierce and desperate, his pale and trembling. "Ethan," she whispered, her voice breaking, "if you go, they win. Every person who laughed at our wedding, every neighbor who turned their back, every voice that told me I didn't belong, they win." For a moment, he looked at her, really looked, and something flickered behind his eyes. But then, headlights appeared from the distance. A truck slowed down, and someone shouted through the rain, "Ain't that the nurse with that crippled white boy?" "Guess love really is blind." Ethan's face twisted in pain. "Please," Maya begged, clutching his arm. "Don't let hate decide for us." The roar of the water grew louder. The world seemed to hold its breath. And then he let go of her hand. "No!" Maya screamed, lunging forward as his body slipped from the edge into the dark river below. The sound of rushing water swallowed her cry, and in that moment, under the storm and the weight of the world's cruelty, Maya's world shattered. They found Ethan's body 2 days later, washed up miles downstream. The news called it a tragic suicide, but Maya knew better. It wasn't just the water that drowned him. It was the weight of the hate, the whispers, the judgment. At the funeral, the same people who once mocked them filled the pews with guilty faces and hollow sympathy. One woman whispered, "She really did love him, didn't she?" Maya turned to her, eyes raw and red. "Love wasn't the problem," she said quietly. "Your hate was." After that day, Maya disappeared from the neighborhood for months. But when she returned, she wasn't the same. She stood straighter, spoke louder, and refused to hide. She began sharing their story at community centers, schools, and churches, telling people how love had been crushed under the weight of prejudice. Her voice trembled the first time she spoke publicly, but the room was silent, every word landing like a truth they could no longer ignore. "They laughed when I married him," she said. "They said our love was a mistake. But the only mistake was believing hate could ever be stronger than compassion." She carried Ethan's memory, not as a wound, but as a purpose, a reason to speak when silence once felt safer. Years later, a small park bench appeared near the old bridge. A plaque read, "For Ethan and Maya, proof that love is not bound by color, body, or cruelty." People stopped there often, some to reflect, others to cry. Many whispered apologies to the air, because the truth had finally broken their hearts. And as Maya said in her last public speech, every time we stay silent when someone is mocked for who they love, we push another Ethan closer to that edge. So I'll ask you this. Next time you see hate standing in front of love, will you look away or will you stand up? If this story touched your heart, don't just scroll away. Hit that like button, share it with someone who still believes in love, and subscribe for more true stories that the world needs to hear. Your one click could keep their voices alive.